All right, so we're here at the glass blowing shop of Evan Chambers, and we're going to interview this great local maker and see what he does and go from there. So let's go find Evan. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm Jason Wally.
Okay.
And you are Evan Chambers, right?
I am.
Awesome. So my partner here, Joey Adams, kind of was telling me that he's friends with you and all the cool stuff that you make here, and we really wanted to check it out. Kind of our thing. We want to see people who make stuff, make a living from stuff that they make with their own hands, and this is kind of a really cool thing. So please share a little bit about how long you've been doing this, and we'll kind of get into your shop a little bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got into glass blowing in college.
Now, did you just find it? Did you like something inspired you? You met somebody?
I mean, we could talk all day about that. But yeah, my sister's 2 years older. She started taking glass blowing classes in college. She started bringing home all these wonky cool things.
Okay.
My parents were both potters and jewelers, and so we grew up in a very craft.
You came from a craft maker's
heavy,
family, yeah.
And I think my parents knew nothing about glass. They couldn't praise it or criticize it. It was always just like this unknown thing. So I think both my sister and I got into it because we felt this kind of freedom of we can do.
So this was something that they couldn't criticize, or give too much input on.
Anything, yeah.
And
it was an unknown to them. They had lots of input on making a living as an artist or a ceramic artist, but when it came to glass, it was too. So I think that's one reason. And both of us are still involved.
So she's still doing this too?
She runs the glass department at San Jose State.
Oh, nice.
And,
awesome. So she's a professor, or she's running the, oh, awesome. So we may need to talk to her at some point. That's cool. So you're in Pasadena. You said you've been doing this 25 years, but how long have you been?
Yeah, in this shop since 2009.
Okay.
So a while. Okay. It's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And I work with metal, a lot of metal work.
Okay.
Copper, bronze, and glass. Those are my three main.
So
mediums.
you do that here also? Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
We don't cast any metal here. I used to, but not anymore. So we do all the fabricating.
Okay. So maybe we get into your shop a little bit. You kind of explain a little bit about what's going on here. And we can get into your process.
Down here, this nice packing blanket. I'm working on this chandelier for a bunch of whales. And
those are awesome.
Anyways, sometimes there's no better way to kind of hold everything in place than a packing blanket. Yeah, you can't put them on shelves.
I think I saw some close-ups of those on your one of your either your website or Pinterest or something. Yeah. So are these whales?
So these are lamps.
And is this a cast or a shape that you do often?
Yeah. These are spun. They're copper. This is spun. And then I molded these little portholes and these whale flukes in the tail, and I cast them all in bronze. And then they're soldered on to there. Everything's soldered on. And then I blow glass into the piece, and it bulges out through all the different.
You blow it into the piece. So somehow, you'll have to show us how you do that. That's awesome.
By the end of the day, you'll be an expert.
So are these some of your examples of what you do?
Yeah, most of these are mine. Different bases. I kind of have a foot in both worlds in this, that metal and glass world, and then I have a big interest in Art Nouveau glass work, and that's what all of this is. The iridescence and all the patterns. It's a very traditional American style of glass. And
so when you say a traditional American style, so these are a design that's early American, and when I say early, how far back?
So I think most of this glass is derivative of Lewis Comfort Tiffany glass, which was done in late 1800s to maybe 1930s, kind of 100s.
So you see the iconic Tiffany lamp kind of thing.
Yeah, he made a lot of stained glass lamps, but he also had this whole line of blown glass.
Okay.
And he really pioneered this iridescent luster glass. It's got a heavy silver content, and that's what gives it that kind of glow.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
So I've always, when I got into glass, I only got into it because I'm interested in this Art Nouveau stuff. yeah, part of my business is making this stuff, and then the other part is making these lamps. Come in here, I'll show you where some other lamps. So here are some of the lamps up here.
Oh, these are beautiful.
That I blow into.
So you again, you'll show us, but you have these frames, and then somehow you're blowing the glass into it to bulge it out from the squares, the cutouts. And are these cut out, or are they okay? That's cool.
And here's some more, creative pieces I've worked on.
I like the little critters.
Yeah, and these are hawk feet that I found a dead hawk a long time ago, and took molds of its feet and then cast them in bronze. And this is an open poppy that I've grown out in the yard. And then
Did you name the hawk?
No, you get to name them. Whoever buys them names them.
Okay. Nice.
Both my grandparents or my grandfathers were like, they did a lot of like wreck salvaging. They're always diving for stuff, and so I've inherited some of their old portholes, and just having those objects kind of makes my imagination go wild. So I kind of designed pieces that would fit into those environments.
So where did they live that they were diving for?
All over the place. I mean, my grandfather lived, did a lot of it down in San Pedro here in LA.
Okay.
And on my mom's side, and up in Alameda, and then my other grandfather's just all over the place.
This could have been the piece I was looking at.
Yeah. So this one's sterling silver, and these are all rubies set around the eyes.
Now, do you reproduce this one, or is that a one of a kind?
Yeah. So this one is one of a kind because it's sterling silver. All the rest, let's say this particular design.
Oh, okay.
This is number one. So this is the first of them, and I usually actually keep the first one in the design. But say, this one that I've made a lot of. This is number 158, and this one I call the Opium Gazer.
Opium Gazer, nice.
Looking at the opium poppy.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was a poppy. Yeah, that's awesome.
These are just shades that they hang from the ceiling or different sconces.
Now, are these designed for a certain type of fixture?
Yeah, it's called a well. I mean, I make all the fixtures, but this is a standard size lamp top. It's called 2 1/4 fitter, and it goes into these things, which are called fitters. So this will be a sconce for the wall.
Nice. That's beautiful. So would this would be an indoor light, though, right?
Yep. It could be outdoor too. I just have to make a couple alterations to it.
Okay. That's awesome. Do you find that most of your sales are you known well enough in the community that they're coming to you directly? They come to your website?
A little bit of both. Also galleries. I sell like 6 different galleries, and then I'll do art shows, mostly on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, so you'll pack up your stuff and
check it all over. Yeah.
Okay. And so the bulk of your sales then are from the shows?
It's pretty evenly spaced, in between galleries, shows, word of mouth.
Okay.
Website.
And how did you find the sweet spot? Just trial and error?
Yeah. Nothing's planned. It's just kind of one of my strengths is just doing stuff and seeing how it.
So did you did you feel like you hit some walls that you had to break through personally in terms of, I had to at some point it felt like I was just doing all this and nobody cared, and I had to keep doing it because I wanted to do it. Was there?
I think, I don't know, it's interesting. I've hit walls as far as I don't like doing certain things anymore, and I fell out of love with some certain things, and that's always like a painful process, because you kind of then have this giant void, and you're like, well, if I don't love this, I'm not going to make it anymore. What am I going to do? And it's always like a kind of a big issue. But then it forces me, I fell out of love with glass for a while, and that's why I started getting creative in this metal and glass area. And although it was scary, I'm very glad it happened, because it's like, I've made all these great pieces, and so I change over time, and there's always some crises. But so far, I'm 42, and I've navigated through it.
Sure.
I think it's important to me to not just keep making the same thing just because you can.
talk a little bit about the cost of materials and what you know, you're talking about some input costs that go into making all this stuff.
It's crazy expensive. Yeah, all the gas, you know, and glass. I don't have actual numbers for you.
Yeah, no, it's just curious. You know, you were saying that it's not necessarily a cheap business to be in.
Yeah, and that's why things are pricey, you know.
So,
but I'll sell my vases for, you know, a cup will cost 95 bucks. Vases in the $260 to $360 range.
Okay. And how much time would you say you put into just the making of the vase itself, not all the...
Probably, funny enough, maybe 45 minutes, but, you know, I've spent months, you know, building each pieces of this equipment.
Right.
The time I have, like, mixing up this glass, buying the chemicals for this glass. I'm getting bubbles out of it right now.
This is one of these vases that we were looking at earlier. That's what you're turning this into.
No, so I'm going to make a Scarab Beetle right now.
This is a Scarab Beetle. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a big one.
So right now you're not using any protective clothing, no gloves. You're used to the heat.
Yeah, you kind of learn the difference between something that's uncomfortably hot and something that's going to do damage to your body.
Right.
And my alarms go off at a much lower rate than, you know, someone who's not around this all the time. First piece of the day always seems to come out a little funky. Sort of like the first pancake of the day.
Right, right. That's a great analogy.
But the only way through is to just start making stuff and work the bugs out as you go. So this is an old mold. It's not an original Tiffany mold, but they use this Scarab Beetle in some of their lamps, and they blow lampshades into it. It's a pretty neat lamp design. I got it out of an old factory up in I guess Portland, Savoy Studios. When they were going under, they were just going to send them all their molds to the scrap heap. So I went up there and picked through all the pallets and got some neat old molds. So this is originally a Tiffany design, and I make paperweights out of them.
Okay. So this is a pretty much a solid piece of glass.
Yep.
Swoosh.
Let it cool down a little bit. It's still very hot.
And you keep it rolling like that so gravity doesn't deform it.
Yeah, it just, if I don't, it's moving, you know?
Yeah. And so how much is the Scarab Beetle? How much do you sell that for?
90.
90.
If it's good. lot of the silver to the surface of the
stained glass.
Feels like a horror movie or something.
Wouldn't know. Too sensitive to watch horror movies. I won't burn your phone.
So this process is a little different than the process before. It looks like you're trying to get more of it on the...
Yeah, so this is called marvering. This is a marver. I think it comes from the Italian word for marble. Italy kind of dominated the world glass blowing scene for a long time. So a lot of our terms come from Italians rather than, I don't know, Middle East is where it really was started.
Yeah.
So it's called a marver. And yeah, and I'm rolling this glass on it to get it even around the blowpipe and also cooling down the surface of it. So I'm going to gather a little bit more glass on it.
So do you ever take on an apprentice? Does anybody ever want to come do this?
Well, I'd probably be open to it if they were the right person. There was this girl that went to high school around here who bugged me for a while. She's like, "Can I come?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "We're about to have a baby. Ask me in a year." And to her credit, she did. So I do use a little bit of store-bought color. This is some color. Just looks good with my glass. And it's crushed. This is called frit. And frit is Italian for French fries. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I don't know what frit means. It probably means shit in Italian. It's just crushed glass. And you'll see what what'll do with it. It'll make sense in time.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get the gold color on the sides of the...
A little bit. Will become all melted together. Yeah, if you kind of zoom in, you can start seeing the pattern. And a lot of times, because I'm using such a dark colored glass, this cobalt blue, you won't really see the pattern until the piece is finished.
So it doesn't, those other colors you put in there don't go deep. They're kind of on the surface.
Yep.
They're just below the surface.
Yep. Jason, I'm looking in that mirror while I blow.
Oh, okay.
It helps me see
I
the
wonder what that mirror was for now.
It helps me see the profile. Sometimes that mirror takes some major hits. That's why it's like a shard of mirror.
So if the glass happens to crack or break.
Yeah, the glass falls on it. Or all those blowpipes will fall on it. Although a lot of glass is made here, this isn't like a safe place to beat glass. Lots of stuff gets broken here too. Just a bowl lined with some newspaper that's wet. And it helps cool the bottom of the piece while I bubble has a tendency to want to just blow out all the way to the bottom. Anyway, it's another useful thing. Pattern more clearly on it.
That one side with the big swirl is pretty awesome.
Yeah, whoops. Not intentional.
I love it.
It wreaks havoc on the piece.
Because just compositionally, it's not as balanced.
Not compositionally, but structurally. Like this glass kind of heats up and cools down at a different rate than the blue glass. So when I put a pattern like this, it's sort of like tying this piece of molten glass up with string. So it's easier when all the string is of the same diameter. Weird analogy.
So that means that through this shaping process, you've just got to take a little different approach.
Harder. How it work?
Beautiful.
You gotta put put it in here pretty quickly, it'll start cracking. So it's an annealing oven. It's at 940 degrees. With the glass in there, and it keeps it at 940 all day, and at the end of the day I run it through a cycle and it'll cool down slowly over the nighttime. If you cool down hot glass too fast, it just cracks up.
So that's literally 6 hours?
No, longer than that, probably 12 hours.
12 hours? Evan, thanks for giving us a tour of your shop today. It's been awesome and all the good stories. Really appreciate it. I'm sure that we'll be in touch, and obviously you'll get to see Joey, sooner. But wish you. Oh yeah, some more. Nice little memento here. Best of luck in your business and health and wealth and happiness for you and your family. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.